In a small village, nestled between the rolling hills and the thick forest of the African savanna, there lived a young woman named Ndidi. She was known for her beauty, but she carried a secret burden that weighed heavily on her heart. Ndidi had no family. She was an orphan, raised by the village elder. Life had always been hard for her, but she managed to survive with the help of the kind villagers. One day, Ndidi discovered she was pregnant. Fear and shame filled her heart, for she was unmarried and knew the village would shun her for this. She could not bear the thought of being outcast, and her fear clouded her judgment. When the time came, she gave birth to a baby boy, alone in her small hut. He had dark eyes that sparkled with life, but Ndidi, overwhelmed with fear, did not see him as a gift. Instead, she wrapped him in an old cloth and, under the cover of darkness, carried him deep into the forest. In the heart of the forest, Ndidi placed her baby at the foot of a large baobab tree. She looked at him one last time, her heart torn, but her fear was greater than her love. She turned and ran, leaving the child alone beneath the ancient tree, surrounded by the sounds of the night. As the moonlight filtered through the leaves, the forest spirits stirred. These spirits, guardians of the land, had watched over the forest for centuries. They were neither seen nor heard by human eyes, but they saw the abandoned child and felt a deep sadness. The forest spirits gathered around the baby, their voices soft as the wind, whispering ancient songs of protection. They could not raise the child as humans did, but they could watch over him and guide him as he grew. Days passed, and the baby did not die, as Ndidi had feared. Instead, he was nourished by the forest itself. Animals brought him food, a mother gazelle provided him milk, birds dropped fruits from the trees, and even the wind seemed to cradle him softly when he cried. The forest had become his home, and he thrived under the care of its inhabitants. Back in the village, Ndidi could not escape the guilt that gripped at her. She tried to forget what she had done, but every night, she dreamed of the child she had abandoned. The villagers noticed the change in her and whispered behind her back. Ndidi, once lively and full of grace, became withdrawn and haunted by her past. Years passed, and the child, now a boy, grew strong and wise under the forest's care. He learned the language of the animals, understood the rhythm of the earth, and was at peace with the spirits of the trees and rivers. The spirits named him Amoni, meaning peace, for he brought calm wherever he went. One day, a great drought struck the village and the surrounding lands. The crops withered, the rivers dried up, and the villagers began to fear for their lives. They believed the gods were angry, and the village elder decided they needed to seek help from the sacred forest. He gathered the villagers and led them to the edge of the forest, praying for guidance. As they approached, they were met by Amoni, now a young man. His presence was both gentle and commanding, and the villagers were struck by his calm attitude. He spoke to them in a voice that echoed like the wind through the trees, offering to lead them to the sacred waters hidden deep within the forest. The villagers were in awe of this young man, who seemed to know the forest so intimately. Ndidi, who had joined the group out of desperation, froze when she saw him. Her heart raced, for though many years had passed, she recognized the boy she had abandoned. Amoni led the villagers to a hidden spring, where the water flowed pure and fresh, untouched by the drought that had ravaged the land. The villagers rejoiced, and as they drank, they thanked the spirits of the forest for their mercy. After the villagers had quenched their thirst and filled their containers, Amoni turned to leave, but Ndidi could not remain silent any longer. Trembling, she fell to her knees before him. "My son," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Forgive me." Amoni looked at her with kind eyes, filled with the wisdom of the forest. "I have always known," he said softly. "The forest told me of the day you left me, but I hold no anger in my heart. The spirits have raised me well, and I am at peace." Ndidi wept, overwhelmed by his forgiveness. "I have lived with the weight of my actions every day. I feared you would hate me." Amoni knelt beside her, placing his hand gently on her shoulder. "The forest has taught me that forgiveness is the path to healing. We cannot change the past, but we can grow from it." The villagers, witnessing this moment of reconciliation, were moved. They realized that the young man who had saved them was the abandoned child, raised by the forest. They no longer saw Ndidi as the shameful woman who had broken their laws, but as a mother who had found redemption. From that day on, the village honored Amoni as a child of the forest, a bridge between the human world and the spirits of nature. He became a healer, using the wisdom of the forest to help his people flourish. Ndidi, forgiven and at peace, walked by his side, knowing that the forest had not only saved her son but had given her a second chance at life. The drought ended, and the village flourished once again, with Amoni's presence a constant reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a path back to the light. The end. Thanks for watching this video. Kindly like, comment and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to share. Bye.